Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
The sun peeks over the horizon. Your excitement builds. The animals in the field start to stir. The forest comes alive with sounds. The sunlight glimmers off the lake, and the mountains start to shed their morning fog. So load up your favorite ammo, grab a few buddies, and head out to make some memories. And tell the rest of the world that you've gone hunting. Gone Hunting is a 1 to 4 player game of family fun where you build a unique hunting ground, scout different animals, buy weapons and gear, and roll dice to hunt. Complete objectives and try not to miss. So let's load up the truck and back Gone Hunting today. See you in the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eagle Eye Art and Comics.
Hello. Yes. Ooh, and hello and welcome. It's one of those days. It's time to have some fun. I mean, it's gray as hell. It's outside anyway, so might as well do something positive and constructive inside. That is, if I can be constructive and not just the fuck up. So, with me today is Mammoth. He is a good friend over on Twitter who basically helps me mock trolls, and we compare artwork stuff to each other. So, we thought he'd come in and let him join in a bit. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you are.
Hello, everyone. I come to kick ass, draw art, and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of gum.
Oh, God, he went there. Oh, my God. This is going to be an interesting day. Where's your camera? Come on.
Let me just go ahead and start that baby on.
Let's rock this bitch. I mean, it's one of those days, right?
Yep, it's one of those days again. Let me just go ahead and get my art stuff.
Days when I'm discombobulated as an artist, otherwise known as days that end in Y.
Yeah, I remember when I got these weird CGI videos, like literally showcasing things about CGI and stuff, and I would just like literally take ideas from that. Weird stuff.
At least it gives you something to shoot for, right?
Oh yeah. Thing is, I mostly take my inspirations from movies or games or anything like that.
I'm mostly taking my inspiration from scantily clad models and bikini shots.
Hey, that's also a good thing to look at.
Well, I'm straight, so it's awkward. I mean, it's definitely usually more of a men's thing.
That's true.
But hey, see, this is what I try to explain to people. You don't have to be attracted to a form or to a body type to understand and appreciate the artistry within it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at stuff like heavy metal or fire and ice. Oh, I mean, fire and ice literally had boobage in it. And
hey, Stunning, how you doing, sweetheart? He's a sweetheart.
Hello.
See, I love that we have these communities that we're building up, we're doing art, we're getting to know each other. Because it's better to have fun. It's better to help each other.
It's better to have fun than be miserable like most of the AAA people out there, man. Like, literally, man.
Yeah.
The industry's not healthy.
But what is it with these people that I have millions of dollars and I'm so miserable, I'm going to bitch at everyone and try to make them miserable?
It's because they're trying to stay relevant.
Like, dude, if I had your money, I would be living out in the art mansion in the middle of the mountains going, woohoo, fuck society! I mean,
dude, I would literally have a mansion and I would just, like, try to own just whatever I want. I'd literally do it.
That would be so my dream. I would just build, like, this place in the middle of the woods. It's heavily defended and full of art studios and just share it with my mom and be like, society can go fuck off.
Build this huge mega theater and just put about every movie in there and just like have the most awesome surround sound set up around and just like, hey, come on in, want to watch a movie?
Now, is there a way to get your camera aimed at your drawings so we can see what you're doing?
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, I know. This is the fun parts of doing this kind of artwork. Not too bad from what I can see so far. Let's see how well we can get this to fit. There we are. There we can see some stuff. Let's see. Let me see you bigger here a sec. And see what you've got going on here. Whenever your hand moves a moment. I kind of get that. Yeah. Base drawing and starting point.
Mm-hmm.
The early sketching is always interesting because I don't even like drawing early sketches. I'm self-conscious with them. So.
Oh, yeah. Same. Most of the time, I always just draw like stuff at least like one time. If it works.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have a very interesting idea.
Oh?
Yeah, you know those little illusions that you would see if you like flip something upside down, it would just show something else entirely. But if you flip it right side up, it shows a volcano.
I get that.
Yeah, I always was interested in those optical illusions.
I know I've got people rolling their eyes at me with all the cat girls lately, but it's a little bit of a self-insert while I'm trying to get my courage and my confidence back up.
Honestly, I'm actually using a self-insert as a villain, and I'm actually going to make it its own character.
I hate to say it, I as much as I bitch about some people's self-inserts, when it comes to my writing, most of my villains are based on me. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I get the criticism with self-inserts, but the way I have it is like these characters are like basically mirror images, so they're like somewhat part of each other, but they don't really realize it.
Here's the experience I had recently. I did a pinup, a very, very naked gun-toting pinup. I wasn't thinking much about it while I was working on it. Not at all, really, in fact. And then I went to take the pictures and post her and had people pointing out that her face looks like mine. And then I looked at it. And her face looks like mine.
Yeah.
Holy shit, does her face look like mine. It was unintentional as fuck.
Yeah.
Awesome. Pre-sign up for things. Get yourself set up for things. Back what you can, people, because we need to uplift each other.
Yeah,
We really
recently I actually got a copy of Need for Speed 2 on the PlayStation. So literally I have almost about every Need for Speed game that's on the first PlayStation except for the first one.
Whereas when it comes to gaming, I can't do most games because I can't do the things that take consistent hand-eye coordination or being able to do fast movements or stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But I love the single-player turn-based RPGs.
Oh yeah. I used to like turn-based stuff, but I don't know. I never really got into that turn-based RPG stuff. It's more.
I love the strategy.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I was more of like, this very unique sort of ideal sort of guy. Like, there's some games that just have some weird stuff in it. Like MTV Music Generator. That's one of them, and that's literally based on a series that was only made exclusively in the UK, which was developed by a Welsh developer called Jester Entertainment. which unfortunately went over to making budget games. But the music stuff was pretty good.
I kind of get that actually.
Yeah.
Although
I
I
mean-
was never that much into the MTV era and the pop culture stuff even as a kid.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm more of a fan of Beavis and Butthead and music videos than actual MTV itself.
I wasn't a fan of that stuff either.
Yeah, I literally have a bootleg set of all the episodes with all the music videos where they're making fun of like the literal artists. I just think it's the funniest shit ever, and it was like absolutely a waste that Paramount did not include that in the previous sets. But apparently, I heard they put them out on Paramount Plus, so hopefully they didn't censor it.
See, and like I said, I never got into that stuff. I was obscure as fuck, and most of my obsessions are very old world. So I know that. I accept that. I'm not your stereotypical person. And hey, CGH, sweetie. I hope you guys are doing okay down there.
Honestly, I'm starting to like the look of this now that I'm drawing it more and more. It really does give you the illusion of something that looks like something out of a nuke or volcano.
That's the other thing I'm having an issue with right now with my work. That's part of why I'm delaying so much. A, consistency between multiple drawings of the same character is still very difficult for me.
Yeah.
B, I change these things so much when I do the colors because I really struggle with getting the faces right.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even that I can't do a face if I'm got the hand balance and stuff like that. It's my shakes, my tremors, my hand ticks make it really difficult.
Oh yeah.
And I keep feeling like until I have it under control, I don't want to put it out there. You know?
Oh yeah, I absolutely get that. Yeah, you know. Yeah, like literally, like sometimes with the faces, I can get the faces. It's just that I really suck at more body proportions and feet. Oh, I'm terrible with feet. Like literally, the reason why that mech has razored feet is just because I thought it looked cool, but it also because I can't draw feet. I can draw hands a little, but not feet.
I can do feet sometimes. I have had some that come out really well. I had a couple I threw away because to me they made me feel like I was looking at Brie Larson's feet. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
ew.
Most of the ones I tried to perform, some of them kind of looked awkward at best. Some of them looked really good, and others they just throw it in the trash. Yeah. And honestly, I want to get to where my drawing is a little bit better because I think I have a sort of plan that I think I'll be going with what I'm going to be doing in my ventures. Like I'm literally going to be creating this modern Legacy of Kain type story, and you know how awesome the fucking Legacy of Kain games are. If you listen to their writing, the writing is Shakespearean to its core.
I don't know much about games, but if you're saying it has that inspiration, that's where a lot of my passion is. It's that old-fashioned literature, so I can definitely get into that.
Yeah, honestly, you don't even just need to play the games. You just need to watch a video and you'll be mesmerized by how much storytelling is packed in these games. Like, they literally go from Blood Omen over to Defiance, and, like, there's 5 games that literally are still connected in the series, except for maybe Blood Omen 2. And honestly, I get why people give Blood Omen 2 flack, because it's kind of a poor-made story, but it does somewhat connect to what Soul Reaver 2 would do in the end. Because it would bring the Hilton. Hilden are one crazy group of enemies.
I did that CJH, actually. I struggle a lot, but I think I'm getting better at least. And that's, I think, what all of us have to do.
Yeah, I used to... Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You don't always hear each other with the timing on these things, especially with like StreamYard and YouTube. You get sometimes a little bit of delay. So it's really easy to start talking at the same time. So I try not to get frustrated too much with it because it's not going to change. It always happens.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of that myself sometimes.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, what I'm actually gonna do is like a more modern take on those games, but rather give it like I'm gonna give it sort of an Eldritchian feel still, but it's gonna be like a very, very impactful storyline that's gonna connect like to each other. Like I literally have two ideas. One is gonna be for the main protagonist of the story, and it's gonna be like a sort of RoboCop meets Darkman sort of story, where the main protagonist goes undercover and tries to find his murderer. And then the other, well, that's literally going to be the story of the antagonist and how he actually becomes the antagonist. And there's actually going to be a whole series on the actual, like, escapades of this antagonist, which connect to the other one.
I said I don't have perfect lighting today. My lighting is usually very dependent on outdoors, and it's really, really gray and rainy and lit today. So I tried to tweak lighting, and it only worked some.
Over here,
So
it's
I'll do my best, and every so often I'll go rotate around, and hopefully you guys will be able to see some of the details.
oh
And you can kind of see the hairs getting detailing, edgings added in as I layer it.
yeah.
It's like you gotta make do with whatever you've got when it happens.
Oh yeah. You know what? I also just thought of another idea. Like, there's literally this poster of Freddy Krueger in the fourth Nightmare on Elm Street, and it looks badass because it literally has like the finger blades coming out of the ground. I always thought that was a cool detail.
You know, the more you talk, the more I realize we have very little things we share about mistakes.
Yeah, I'm so much and literally, I mean, sometimes it just feels like I live like in another place because it's like I feel like I'm different from everyone.
Same here.
Yeah.
The thing is with me is I'm a gothic girl, but I don't like horror. And the reason I don't like horror is because it bores me. And so it's like I don't fit in either group, really. You know?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just not a fan of slashers because slashers is just like, it's like the same thing all over again. Who's gonna get killed? But if you bring something like Phantasm or something with an absolutely top-notch storyline, I'm down for it.
See, there's a difference point between what's true horror and what's thriller. And thriller actually has intellectualism, plot, detailing, whereas the horror is more about the shock and less about the plot. So if you're not scared, true horror, slasher, even paranormal horror, it makes you laugh.
Yeah, it does, honestly. I mean, especially if you're looking at the Jason movies or anything. Oh my God, Jason Goes to Manhattan. You gotta admit, someone had to be on the pot when they were making that idea for Jason Goes to Manhattan.
You want to see the thing that takes the most drugs for somebody to have made. There is an old cartoon special to look up and watch called The Point, which was narrated by Ringo Starr, if that gives you a clue. And he also does some of the music in it, but it literally feels like a 60s acid trip. I'm not gonna lie. It's cute, and it's actually not a bad way of telling anti-racism as a story without being really just aggressive. But it is a bit of a trip and a half, and
yeah, it kind of sounds like something like Fritz the Cat, but more.
And I'm not sure what it says about me as a child that was the kind of thing I liked when I was a little girl.
Yeah. You know, Fritz the Cat, if you ever watch Ralph Bakshi's movies, man, they were something, man. Like, literally, it's like you're watching this retrograded acid trip, and it's like literally the guy literally, like, the rotoscopes and does everything. Like, he uses all types of art styles in one movie.
My problem with what I was saying, CJH, is that it's the same reason why I was getting eye rolls from Ben the other day because he tried to play this moment from a video game that this is so emotional. This moment is a moment that makes me feel like crying, kind of moment in the storyline, and I'm sitting there making fun of it the whole time because my brain is far too far on the spectrum. I can't not feel things that I know are fictional, you know?
Yeah.
And
Same.
so that stuff turns on, and I turn into instant sarcasm because I don't have the filter, so I speak what I'm thinking. And that combined with not being able to feel it means she's going through this moment where she's crying about how they wiped out my people, they took everything from me. It's like, but you still have clothes left. And he's looking at me like, what the fuck? It's like, it's a reaction thing. And so that's what I think is. And I had a grandmother who adored her horror movies, and she would play them whether there were people around or not. So, my brother had freakouts as a child from some of the horror movies she played around when he was a baby. I just found them silly and laughed my ass off.
Yeah, like literally there's this one movie.
Hey, squad leader.
I think
go ahead.
this movie would literally be an acid trip in itself. And that is, my friends, the remake of House on Haunted Hill. Yeah, literally they got Joffrey Rush to play Vincent Price. And it's like an not H.R. Geiger, but it's more like Lovecraftian. And I always thought that, it was interesting for what they were trying to do with the source material.
I can kind of get that. Like I said, I get why people like it, and I get the draw to some people. It doesn't work for me.
Oh, yeah. I get that. Yeah.
But still, I think I understand it. And I still absolutely love things like Edgar Allan Poe and the old thriller literature and poetry and stuff like that. One of the things I do on streams every Halloween is the blindfolded resuscitation of the Raven and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I get the appeal of the creepy and the mystic. I really do.
Honestly, Edgar Allan Poe was a genius, a misunderstood genius if you read his backstory.
If you also look at part of why they got mad at him was the whole wedding with the cousin. And if you actually look at the laws in the area in that time, you could not take a woman into your house to live with you if she wasn't married to you, unless she was your actual child. And so he actually could not take in his cousin who was homeless unless he married her. I don't think he was ever romantically drawn to her.
Oh.
Anything I've seen from what he said or what she said, or at least they weren't in those early years, I think it was a marriage of convenience because it was the only way to save her from the streets.
Oh. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now that I think that. Yeah, it's been a while since I touched up on Edgar Allan Poe's history. Another part, he made Annabelle Lee, and unfortunately, he passed out in the alleyway, and that was it. He was a genius.
It's like one of the things that annoys me is all the people that make jokes about how Hemingway died. It's like he was a veteran with shell shock who shot himself from the night terrors. That's not funny.
Yeah, that is it.
I would punch somebody in the fucking face if they made fun of somebody in that situation today.
Yeah, that wouldn't be right.
And yet it's a common punchline to make fun of the fact that Hemingway killed himself. It's like, he was a veteran. He served the country. He helped save your ancestors' lives. You want to show a little respect?
Yeah. Are you talking about Ernest Hemingway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've heard of him. Yeah. Where have I heard of him from? I've heard that name before.
He was a writer, and he also was a veteran back in World War I.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I get that. The Pulitzer Prize. Okay, he made For Whom the Bells Toll. Yeah, I think I've heard of that one, but I haven't read it yet.
I
Yeah,
think he was a brilliant man who just didn't know how to deal with a truly traumatic and tragic thing he had to go through.
yeah. Honestly, I mean, I've never read a lot of his work, but I might want to read up on that. Yeah.
I'm a literary nerd. I love literature. I
Oh
fucking
yeah.
love it. And I
I've
love the
read.
old wars, the Gothic traditions, the old Victorian. I understand. You got to remember the English language. Part of why it was created was for literature and for poetry. It was created as an artistic, expressive language. So, to really understand the English culture, to really understand why the language became what it did, to really understand things like Chaucer to Beowulf to all this stuff, you have to delve into the language history and how it developed, you know?
Oh yeah. I actually read Beowulf and To Kill a Mockingbird in high school. I like those books.
Oh, I remember we went up to visit my dad's cousin, who unfortunately has no longer been with us. My cousin and dad's cousin was kind of complicated because
Yeah.
he's older than my dad, but he's technically my cousin.
Oh
But, it happens when you have big families with a lot of kids. But he was all freaked out because I had to have been about 8 or 9, and I'm sitting there with a stack of all these old novels on my lap while I'm reading To Kill a Mockingbird, and he's staring at me like I've lost my mind. He looks at my parents, is she reading? And they're like, yeah. like, yeah, that's what she's like normally.
yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, honestly, I think that's a pretty good book. It really teaches you a lot about how people can go so easily into persecution and everything
Mhm.
just because like someone's different.
Well, that's one of the things I get into with people is as much as we want to say we're better than this or we're better than that, or, well, these were the people that were really at fault during this or that. The fact is, there's no point in history, even with the worst aggressors, even with the most bigoted people, even with the horrors of history. There's no point in history where the people that were fighting against them were innocent in how they did things or didn't also become bigoted at some point.
Oh yeah.
And you can see it all the way through World War II. You can see it during, I'm sorry, not everything the natives did in response to all the Manifest Destiny and that stuff was right. And that's speaking as a girl who's card carrying Sioux. And not everything my tribe did with other tribes was right. Hell, we were known as hell raising violent warriors for a reason, you know?
Oh yeah. They probably you guys probably kicked some asses over there.
Well, and the thing is that I think part of the problem we have in society today is that people are so interested in their camps and their opinions and their all that they're not interested, honestly, in truth.
Yeah.
And
They're
the truth
more.
is, humanity is flawed, and there's never going to be a completely innocent or completely guilty side.
Yeah, like literally, people are more interested in just hearing what comes out on the internet than the actual truth itself. I mean, if you look at all the people that are in these like cancel culture cults like Kickback or any of those people, like, you literally think that these people are in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
that's the
like,
thing. And I felt when I started finding out about all these online communities, I stumbled upon all of this stuff accidentally while I was looking for art tutorials and stumbled upon that Star Wars girl painting a Yoda painting. That's how I found everything. Oh, so it was all by accident. I thought I was alone with a lot of my feelings and my fights.
yeah, I used to think that too. that, and I used to be a huge leftist, and then like literally when I started seeing more and more of it, it literally turned me off and turned me into like something else entirely.
Is this where I admit I went through the man-hating feminist phase?
Yeah, I used to be like one of those like radical feminists, and I literally saw it for what it is and decided, yeah.
I had an ex who was a horror show. I had multiple guys try to attack me when I was younger. And even though there were good guys in my family, I got very jumpy, very skittish, and very cynical of men. And the feminists are not going to help try to heal you of your pain of what you've been through. If you're that kind of girl, they're going to feed every bit of pain and paranoia you have to make you scared, angry, and miserable so that they can use you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I didn't realize then that I had to learn. And then I started dealing with working with other victims and all this other stuff. I started seeing how many men I knew were victims, were falsely accused with evidence that the woman was lying. I'm talking about they weren't even in the same state when it happened. You know? And I started seeing the lies of what I was being told and fed. And all those feminists, all those people who claimed that they cared about me, you poor thing, you never should have had to go through that. It's interesting how they were the first ones to not just turn on me, not just turn or get vicious, to actually start sending me comments celebrating what was done to me and saying I deserved it.
Hey, not only that, did you see what DeSantis did over at Martha's Vineyard? Like literally, they literally shipped migrants over to Cape Cod.
Yeah, I won't get too much into that because I try not to go straight into the political. I will say this much.
Right.
What was shipping them there a political stunt? Yes. Did it prove the point about those people up there and that they don't give a shit? Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So I can sit here and look at that and go, ha ha ha, at both sides.
Yeah. And people are starting to wake up over it because, you know, like these people, they claim that they're so diverse and everything, yet they're treating people like absolute dog shit. And I think that's just, you know, that's just sad.
But when I broke free of the whole feminist stuff, I don't like either side of the aisle. I really, really don't. And I'm pretty open about that. You know? But I will tell you, when everything started coming out, when I started dealing with all the crap that the ex had done, I started dealing with all the things that had been done to me, it wasn't the feminists who gave a shit. It was the MAGTOW MRA guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we've literally switched, like, I don't know, but we literally switched over to Republicans to the liberals and the liberals to the Republicans.
I don't know. I don't like either side. But that's because I see as a child, I saw the bigotries in both sides.
Oh, yeah.
Today, I'm still seeing them, but they have actually really switched. And the thing is, they always claimed that the Republicans and Democrats had switched sides. The whole Dixiecrats aren't Democrats anymore thing. But that was never true until the last few years, really. Yeah. Where they really started switching positions on each other. Why? The one that got to me was seeing fucking Elvira turned into the censorship satanic panic behavior.
Yeah, or Stephen King.
Hey, Parrothead. Oh, I always hated him. I always thought he was a douchebag. So
yeah,
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I know there are people that like his work. It was never my style, anyways. But he always rubbed me raw. He never seemed sincere. He never felt legit. He felt like an arrogant asshole saying whatever he needed to for attention. Yeah. That's how he felt to me when I was a kid. So that one, I just sit there and go, ha ha, I'm vindicated. I mean.
Yeah, and literally, he tried to remake The Shining just because he thought he can do it better. And, like, literally, you know what happens with a TV adaptation? Nobody watched it.
You know, I will say this. There is, and by the way, the first horror thing I ever saw as a child when I was a baby girl. You would think as a child at least this would be scary. I was about 3 years old when she did a marathon of everything from freaking Shining to Pet Cemetery and all those of his. And they didn't scare me. I laughed at them.
Yeah,
So
literally more those Stephen King movies, like even he did one of those, and like literally is the most campiest movie I've ever watched in the history of cinema.
the only movie of his that actually is creepy to me, and this is as an artist and a writer, is Misery.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
Because
what,
I understand that fear of somebody psycho who's going to get obsessed with you, especially
yeah,
somebody who's been through stalking and abuse.
yeah. I mean, literally, Carrie, or what was her
Uh,
name?
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates. Yeah.
And she's a fucking phenomenal actress. And
Yeah.
there's so many things I love that she's done. So
Yeah, she's
from campy comedy to dark horrors to everything else. When she's in something, I usually love the part.
yeah, she usually eats the floor with her art acts.
She had a briefly lived show that was in around 2010, I think.
Hmm.
That was called Harry's Law,
Very so.
which was actually her as a lawyer. And it actually took on and attacked different social and political issues from both sides. Even had one episode where she got mad at people spying on her and shot a drone down out of the air over her house.
Honestly, now from the sounds of it, I'm gonna watch that. Just to see her shooting the drone out of the air.
They had one dealing with the fact that society won't do anything for male rape victims. They had one dealing with the fact that white kids in the inner city are intentionally kept out of getting scholarships, grants, and help, even though they're in the same poverty. They didn't shy away from topics, and which is probably why it only lasted 2 seasons before it got axed.
That sucks. It literally lasted 2 seasons.
Yeah. It was fucking phenomenal, and they moved it around like every other week. I swear they were trying to kill it from the beginning. So I'm thinking that they had to do the contract to get something else they wanted, and they didn't want it because she didn't shy away from going after both sides. Is probably my guess of what happened.
Hey, if I was, if I was a production company, I'd get that back up, man. We need shows like that.
But I remember things like Kathy Bates is one I've always liked, even since I was a kid. She just had that personality. She had that pull,
Should agree to that.
I mean, come on, for fuck's sakes. For everything from these serious things to fucking the mother and the water boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched Waterboy. I used to be into comedy movies, and I got more into the horror scene, especially when watching movies like Child's Play 1.
I think part of why I have the taste I do when it comes to movies and stuff is also I am extremely hyper. I can't just watch a movie. I can't sit there and look for every little jump scare, every little thing. If it's really deep drama, I have to be in a really specific state of mind to be able to sit and focus on it. And if it's horror, I just don't have the time or energy to focus on it. Because I got other things I want to do. Comedies, I can sit and watch them and I can look away. Plus, I'm a fucking Mel Brooks addict.
Mel Brooks is a genius, man. Mel Brooks and Monty Python.
That too.
Love Monty Python.
And it doesn't mean I doesn't mean even with those that I agree with every stance they take in their humor, but they're funny, and even if I disagree with it, I want to laugh at it.
Yeah, they literally have French people launching cows at night. That's the most crazy shit ever. Not only that, but they literally mock censorship, and they still do. And God bless John Cleese, man. That guy's a legend.
John Cleese is the one that's standing firm on that. Some of the cast in Monty Python aren't as solid against censorship as they used to be. Cleese fucking is. He's an animal. He's awesome.
Cleese is a fucking legend, man.
Damn straight.
He and Terry Gilliam are fucking geniuses. Also, 12 Monkeys is a great fucking movie.
And I loved all this stuff. This is my life growing up. I have everything. Mel Brooks, from weird, obscure movies to the original Get Smart series when he was trying to produce some TV, all the way through. I didn't even have his fucking serious movie he did about World War II, dealing with the persecution of the gays in theaters in Germany. I mean, I have Brooks's.
I need to get a set of Mel Brooks's movies, but I got Young Frankenstein. That's one of my favorites, man. Like,
It's
really.
one of the good ones. Do you know what I watch? Well, my husband absolutely has to watch Young Frankenstein every Halloween. That's a given, right? So
Yeah.
then there's the ones I add to that list. Every Halloween, we watch Young Frankenstein. We also watch High Anxiety. Do you remember what that is?
Oh yeah, isn't that a like parody on one of Alfred Hitchcock's movies?
It's a parody of Hitchcock's movies. It has spoofs making fun of some of the stuff from King and others back in that era too. It is a pretty dark humor from Mel Brooks, and it deals a lot with like psychological shit and things.
Honestly, I need to get that movie. That's one I need to watch too.
I also watch Arsenic and Old Lace.
Oh, what are those ones about again?
Arsenic and Old Lace was made in the 40s with Cary Grant.
Wow.
And he hated it because it was way too immature for him and creepy. He was not a fan of creepy and horror. Arsenic and Old Lace starts off, his character, Mr. Brewster, is the author of the Bachelor's Bible. He is literally the envisionment of early MGTOW, you know?
Like,
And the beginning of the movie starts with him being busted by the media in the courthouse trying to elope with the girl he fell in love with. So it starts with that. But it goes back to him going back home to deal with his family before he takes off for his honeymoon on Halloween as they're doing the trick-or-treats and all that in the neighborhood. And through the evening, finding out that, his brother, the aunts that raised them, all three of them are serial killers.
she's
And it goes through all this stuff, him trying to get off by his brother at points and all kinds of shit. And it's a twisted movie. And it has a lot of the classic spoof and comedy styles to it. And the over-the-top jump scares of the 40s and 50s, which were funny as hell and loved them back then,
Yeah.
It's like you got these little old ladies that are considered the face of pure love and Christian charity, and they're explaining the perfect blend for making elderberry wine poisonous to poison old gentlemen with. It's great. One of our gentlemen even stopped to say how delicious before he died. It's like
That's like that meme that I see on Twitter. It's like, Jesus Christ. Literally, like, that meme's like literally that movie.
and it started as a play a few years before that, and the one who played the psycho brother in the play was Boris Karloff.
Oh, Boris Karloff, didn't he play the Mummy?
He played a lot of things. He was a great actor for that kind of stuff back then. But because of a contract he had with another thing, his being able to play the brother for the movie version fell through. And so they actually changed part of the plot to make it a running gag throughout the movie that people were saying that the brother character was so fucked up in plastic surgeries that he looked like Boris Karloff.
That's actually pretty hilarious.
And yeah, it's one of my favorites. Then there's, of course, the Clue movie, because I love all the not so subtle slams of the government mixed into the psycho humor.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
And because I'm just an absolute fan of Tim Curry. Fucking hell, Tim Curry is legend.
Tim Curry is a legend, but man, like literally they tried to get him in Congo though. Man, I feel bad for him getting in Congo.
Hey, you know, it may be in the early shading stages, but you're starting to see the depth of the body there.
I like it.
Pops?
Yes.
The comment about somebody being blocked in chat, what was that?
Oh, that was one of my haters. No worries. I got him.
Oh, he's also one of my friends.
Yeah, well, he's an asshole, so sorry.
Fair enough,
Not
it's your
sorry.
channel. It's your channel. If you don't want him there, it's your choice.
Hey, if he's going to come out and be cool, he come out and be cool. If he's going to come out and troll and be an idiot, he's going to get left behind. That's what his problem is. He got left behind, and he can't handle it. All he had to do was apologize to Christie for being an asshole to her. He couldn't do it. He's publicly just goes out and talks shit constantly. I'm done with him. Done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know there was anything there. I was just curious if that was a mistake or not. And no problem.
I get it.
I just ain't going to let people troll the shows. I don't care who they are. I don't care. I'm just not going to let people troll our shows. That's not
Fair
why
enough.
we're doing this.
Fair
We're not
enough.
doing it for people's enjoyment to make jokes and to be assholes. That's not why we're here. So there's lots of other channels. You can go check that stuff out. But that's not why we're here.
If he wants to talk and hang out, he can always go over to my channel and watch there. That's his choice. I'm not going to tell anybody who to have in their chat. Other than that, though, yeah, I love that old comedy style. And Clue, yeah, is one of the ones I watch every year. I love the shots at the UN. Talking about that you used to work with deranged psychopaths with delusions of grandeur and all that side from the homicide and stuff, and now you work for the UN. So your work has not changed. I mean, I love all that stuff. I love that kind of jokes.
Yeah.
I love that they point out the fact that nutcases use the whole McCarthy era and the real issue of communism as a red herring to push their own censorship and control, which they did.
Yeah. Like what's happening now.
Cancel culture is just the opposite side, same version of the same shit.
Yeah. Same shit, different story.
And so that's where it is for me. And it's absolutely one of those things that I love the humor where I have to be in the right state with the right kind of jokes with it for me to enjoy things that remind me at all of the real world.
Oh yeah.
Clue hits it right because it doesn't push any ideologue stuff down your throat, but it makes fun of both sides in really kitschy and funny ways. You know?
Yeah, I need to watch that movie again. It's been so long since I watched it. Like, I literally rented it and, like, never watched it. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I need to watch that movie.
And that's where
Oh, sorry.
I love that era, that style of sarcasm, of snark, of it's got to be done right.
Yeah, like, look at Ghostbusters, man. Ghostbusters is one of the best comedy movies I've ever watched.
It's not even usually my style, but I still appreciate it because there's still something that I can enjoy because it had some mass appeal, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
I
the
mean-
best comedies should.
Yeah, I mean, literally, what Ghostbusters had is Bill Murray walking around, and you would literally have him snarking around and everything. I thought that was the funniest shit when he got slimed by Slimer. It's like he slimed me.
Okay, speaking of good Bill Murray humor, have you actually seen The Man Who Knew Too Little?
Oh no, I haven't.
Okay, you need to watch that. He's the main star. His co-star is Joanna Whaley.
Mm-hmm. I might need to watch that. Yeah.
And at one point, yes, you do get to see her in a maid's costume changing clothes. So,
You ever watch Groundhog Day?
yes.
That one's pretty good too. Man, I love that. Like, he literally sucker punches someone because he's so annoying. Like, literally, he's hearing it all day. It's like, hey, man. It's like, hey. And then he just sucker punches, like, literally sucker punches him and just walks on his merry way. Like, nothing that.
I like the airplane movies.
Oh yeah, I did those movies. Those movies pretty good.
They were awesome. They were fun. I like fun when it comes to movies. But that's because usually when I watch movies, it's either I'm really busy, I'm working, I'm dealing with a lot, or it's a wind down thing after a long, hard day. That's usually when I watch movies. And so if I've been just working for 12 hours on a project that's had me pull my hair out, it's probably not in my best interest to sit down and watch a 3-hour movie with subtitles that's going to make people want to scream or bawl or remind you of stress in the real world, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if I was probably working on games, I would probably be a headache because I'd have to try to figure out how to use an engine. I probably would be watching movies.
See, as I work and you see the shades come out here, it looks more and more like skin the more I do, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Like, literally, you should see the one I have. I literally just made an optical illusion. Like, it's just mostly filled with what the fuck.
The fuck, the who, the how, the what, the why.
Yeah, I, like, literally just added, like, every idea out of my head and I just combined it into one. Well, some of them at least.
Like when I'm watching music and videos on YouTube, I'm not into a fuck ton of social commentary on every fucking thing. I like things like watching Jonathan Young do deep, creepy, heavy metal versions of kids' movie music. I like watching Stevie T rant and rave and make fun of Gafakis and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Hey, you ever watched the movie Shocker?
I don't think so.
Oh god. I mean, it's one of those horror movies, but it's so weird. Like literally, you have a guy who makes a deal with the devil, and he literally turns into electricity. It's so weird. It's like
Sounds fucky as hell, honestly.
yeah, it was made by Wes Craven, so that makes it even more fucky. Like that movie, honestly, I think that movie was actually kind of underrated at the time because it got a bit of flack, but I thought the plot was pretty original for what it was. Literally, you have a serial killer who makes a deal with the devil and turns into fucking electricity. When they try to find him, they don't even find him. But he's literally possessing bodies while they're trying to find him. They think he's dead, and he's not. It's some funky shit. And it also has Ted Raimi in it.
One of the things I love is, yes, I love fourth wall breaks. I love running gags. I love insider humor, stuff like that, you know? Well, first of all, the king of that is still going to be Mel Brooks. Those are all things that he fucking excels at.
Mel Brooks is a fucking genius, man. Like, literally, he is one of the kings of comedy. I mean, literally, without
Mm-hmm.
Mel Brooks, we would not have Blazing Saddles. But that's still one. Snap.
I still remember it. Now, here's the context. My god kids, their adopted parents are ministers, okay? Um, and they're from the church I'm on the board of, which is inner city black church, okay? Which tells you what they are, pretty much, you know? They're sweet, adorable. I love my god kids to pieces. My godson has a very, very docile personality overall. And I remember playing Blazing Saddles for him on his 18th birthday.
Oops.
It took him about 10 minutes to allow himself to laugh because he wasn't sure he was supposed to find those things funny. By the time he did, he couldn't stop laughing through the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Where are all the white women there? They literally, they will not allow that shit today, man. That's a funny shit, you know.
I know that Mel Brooks is supposedly working on a mini-series based on History of the World Part 2.
Nope.
And he says he doesn't want it to be PC. He wants it to be based on what he was actually describing as Part 2 at the end of the movie.
You know what? I think that's a very good idea, and we should go for it.
I worry it will never actually get released because it was contracted through Hulu, and I have a feeling when they see what is going on and what he's saying, they will axe it because one of Hulu's main owners is Disney.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned it will never see the light of day, especially if he actually does the Jews in space part that he wanted to do.
I would love to see that.
I would fucking love to see it, but I have this weird feeling it probably won't happen.
Yeah, especially woke Hollywood these days. They care more about like making themselves feel good and actually preaching about diversity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I actually want to put a fun fact about this one that I drew right here years ago. Because I drew this one before, and I literally had this featured on the actual channel that was associated with the movies.
Look at that back as I'm detailing it. Look at the shadows.
Let me see that. Ooh, that's nice. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks pretty good.
Son of a red shirt. Hey, sweetie.
You know, I actually had this, like, literally.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I literally had this featured on the Phantasm Instagram one point. I was like literally thinking of ideas. It's like, what should I think of? Oh, yeah, that scene in Phantasm 2 where they get the guy's hand. Well, they literally had to pry a spear from a guy's hands because that thing will literally just literally fly at you and suck your brains in. So they literally pull it out and it just goes into the hole, and it opens this door that pulls out the portal from the first Phantasm movie. I was like, that's one of the most badass scenes ever. So I literally created that, but put out made it more like biological or something. I was like, you know what? I want to make it look like that. And literally, it was that good that I got it focused on the actual owners of Phantasm itself, and they put it on the Instagram.
That's cool.
That is. Yeah. Honestly, I had a thought about actually making a Phantasm series where it introduces new characters, but it also has older characters, which is actually a prototype of what my series was actually going to be. However, unfortunately, I mean, with all the stress that I was dealing with, unfortunately, I did not go through with that at the time. It would have been a nice idea, though.
So it gets to that point where I think as a society we just have to find our common grounds and take them, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
Check this out.
I love my communities. I love all my online groups. I love the fight, the social commentary. We need to fight the corruption. We need to stand on our principles, all that. But
Oh
it
yeah.
can't just be the fight, and it can't be. You can't get yourself into the point where you're so into the fight that you will go to anything and watch it, even if you know you're going to hate it, just so you can bitch about it. So at
Yeah.
that point, you're kind of becoming what you hate.
Yeah. I mean, literally, that is becoming what you hate. Yeah. I mean, I get why people bitch about it because fuck, man. I mean, you see these.
Oh, I'm absolutely on the bitching and the fighting, but
Mm.
it's one thing to take a stand, state your opinion, move on with things, go from there. It's one thing to watch things because you're giving them a fair shake, because this is what you do, you're involved in this, all this. And it's another to seek out things because you know they will piss you off so you can bitch about them, which is what I'm seeing
Yeah.
some people doing now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of have a problem with that myself, but I don't do it as often. I usually use my wits just to joke around people on Twitter, just just joke around sometimes. Look at this, man! Literally, you ever seen this movie?
One moment. Not sure.
It's literally batshit insane. Like you have Brad Dourif, who has this big ass mech. It looks like a Mauser, and literally it's going zooming around left, right, and everything. The movie was directed by the actual guy who made the Blade movies, and it was produced by JVC over in other countries and Trimark in the U.S. Which JVC got the uncut version, while us U.S. people got the cut version that was made by Trimark. So if you want to go ahead and watch the uncut version, you can watch that for free on YouTube. But man, that movie.
Is this where I make a joke about what kind of things I want to watch uncut?
Oh yeah. I mean, there are some movies that just don't work as a movie that goes uncut. I mean, you can polish a turd so much, but there's so many movies that just benefit way better from an uncut version than an actual cut itself. Like if you
I
watch,
was just making a dirty sex joke.
see, I'm a nerd.
I'm a nerd too, but I'm also a perv, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I used to be a perv myself, but yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't go away for it. Okay, men, yeah, they're horny till the day they die is the joke, and there is some truth to that. But women, we hit our hormonal stage when we hit middle age. We get worse then.
Mm.
And there's a scientific reason behind it, and it's called the body wanting us to make babies.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Oh, just look at this one though. This one was pretty nice too. Like I literally thought of something like from Samurai Jack, where you see Aku coming out. I literally thought of this idea where you just have this thing coming out. It's just like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, here's a mock poster I made for a sequel to this one movie. Like I thought the sequels are kind of trash. It literally has the protagonist. I think it's like their foot encapsulated in a jar. That's pretty cool. Oh, here's this one. This one I liked because that one kind of looked metal as fuck, while also pretty cool at the same time. Like literally, the protagonist can actually go through people's minds with a computer, and I literally draw these spikes that
go on his hands and everything, makes it look like he's actually into something.
I get that actually.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought that was the most metal shit that I've ever made in a drawing. Like, it kind of reminds you of it out of Splatterhouse, but it's also like, it has a purpose because he's like trying to go through people's brains and figure them out. And like, there's dangers and risks to that. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, I remember this one. I actually drew this just out of boredom because like there was I think I made some kind of like, how do I say it, like some kind of post about which movie is better, Cyborg or Nemesis. Most people actually chose Cyborg over Nemesis, but honestly, I think Nemesis is way better than that movie because Cyborg has very cringy dialogue. But I mean, most of the movies that the director made kind of had cringy.
All right, I'm going to zoom in here a sec so I can see how this is coming out so far. What do you think?
I like it. It's pretty good.
Skin takes a lot of layering to really actually get kind of a realistic look.
Yeah.
But hey, she's getting it.
It looks pretty good. I like the posture that she gives out too.
I will be honest, this is probably one of the least original ideas I came up with because this one I did base on a tutorial book I was studying. But I still had to draw it. And it was the lesson. I just altered it, changed it, and then made her a different creature. But you got to start somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's why I want to get into game design because I want to figure out how to use the first Unreal Engine. It's like, yes, it is. Just because of the aesthetic of the reflections on it. And everything.
I'm just going to focus on the perfect timing of you saying aesthetic with that pause in the middle of it, right as I started coloring the edge of her butt.
That is some perfect timing. Yeah,
it's kismet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a very immature sense of humor.
You're fine. I have that too sometimes. Like literally, like I remember when someone was talking about their heater on Twitter, I literally said I will turn it up to 60 minutes. They're like, the pandemic is over. Why do I have to go through this program? Oh, that was funny. I think it's time to start drawing here again.
Nice. Not sure how far I'm going to make it on her tonight before I get tired. As people can probably tell, it takes me a few hours to even do the colors on one of these. But it's so much fun to just sit and really just work on being the artist, really just focus and have fun.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm much more better at just drawing actual landscapes than making people. Like, I know everything about landscapes, but I just don't know everything about body proportions. Like I can literally create a broken highway as easy as 1, 2, 3. But when it comes to like arms, feet, and everything, that's the one thing that I always struggle with is body proportions. Yeah.
I do sometimes, not usually.
I mean, usually, some of these come out pretty all right if I'm just putting in like a landscape or something like that I can create out of my head that looks pretty cool at the time. But if it's something like an actual like human body proportions. I'm just absolutely terrible at that. Like, look at this, like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I know a few artists who could probably talk to you and give you a hint. You've got the potential. I see it in a lot of your drawings. And as you said, we're both starting here. We're pretty new. So I think I know some artists who could help you with figuring out the human edgings and stuff like that more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what one of my friends says. I need to work on the proportions, but everything else is pretty good for the most part.
I get that.
Yeah. I could do faces. It's just that, like, anything, like, I'm getting more better with noses and stuff like that. But if it's like actual arms or legs, that's still something I need to work on. Like, hopefully one day I can be able to have the chance to actually make my main character just pull off what RoboCop would literally do in the movies. Literally holding out one hand back and then the other he's just got his gun out.
One moment here. I think, and this is the one I was talking about. She does look like me. Just kind of a orange sci-fi-ish version of me, you know. It wasn't on purpose, I swear. But I actually had somebody send me. They pieced this picture of her side by side with one of my pictures that actually has me at the same angle.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like, oh crap, yeah, she does. Well, this could be really awkward.
That's a strange coincidence.
It wasn't on purpose, but it's probably not coincidence. It is. You tend to throw yourself into your art. It's kind of a normal thing, so it probably was unintentional, but still naturally occurred.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, drawing that art and everything thinks that's more similar to someone else's stuff. Yeah, I'd say that would.
Yeah, but I like how she turned out too. I just had to sit here and go, well, it wasn't intentional. I swear.
Oh
It
yeah.
wasn't intentional. But hey. So, I'm back. Part of why I haven't been on camera as much is because I do kind of have some hives I got from the allergic reaction a few days ago.
Oh yeah.
And they can make you feel a little self-conscious. Little. As you can see, bits of people that I've worked with in the past are behind me.
Is that Poison Ivy behind you?
No, actually, that is the main character from Tilt, which was Doc Hogg and Lenore did that.
Oh, yeah.
And me and Vic King actually did one of the alternate covers for the second edition of it together.
That's actually pretty cool, man. I like it.
We also did a deck of cards where they actually had him do a pinup style version of her with a little bit of the old styles like I do. And then they had it put onto the back of the deck of cards for every card. And I did all the colors work on it.
Cool.
Hi, sweeties.
Hey, what up, what up, what up?
Aw, right, Kitty, you're such a sweetie. Yes, right, Kitty, and several of my friends were actually backers on that. I very, very shamelessly promoted the campaign every chance I got when I was promoting Tilt 2, including just literally jiggling on stream over on Mindless Entertainment, saying, let me be a little whore for my campaign. Back Tilt 2, back Tilt 2. While I pointed at the jiggles. I was on meds. I should not have done the stream that night.
That reminds me of the time that I was drinking like 1 or 2 beers a bottle, and I just like literally got bitch insane. Like literally started.
It's really so bad because every time, for some reason, every time I ended up on meds that made me loopy as hell, somehow I ended up on fucking stream with Jesse and Jeff.
Yeah.
And if you think somebody who goes under mindless entertainment or somebody who goes under world-class bullshitters are going to discourage my bad behavior, every time I end up on stream with them during it, I do stupid, crazy shit that I'm almost embarrassed.
Like, literally, you know, like, I remember.
I don't know if they're my best friends or the devil's on my shoulder.
Yeah. Hey, it's good to have both at the same time sometimes.
Right?
Yeah. I literally thought of this one panel, you know, like.
Big hero. Mwah. Riot Kitty, it's okay. Riot Kitty will be here with me next week, and she does some of the cutest chibi and manga style art. And she's done a pinup set for me that I'm going to be coloring for my work I'm doing.
You know, I actually kind of like cheapy art in a way, you know, the little people and everything. I always thought it was very strange, but very interesting at the same time.
It's about over-exaggerating the cute and the beautiful all at once.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yeah.
I'm at Atrocity Press. Welcome also. I will be wrapping up here in the next few minutes, but I'm very thrilled to actually get to do these streams and actually hang out on different channels and get to know people. And
yeah, honestly, you know, why I do these streams is just, you know, to get to know people more, you know, because I've missed out on so many things in the world, man.
Riot Kitty is one of the people I got to know back when I was starting in 2019. And she's the sweetest thing. And she was very cutely shy and young then.
Oh yeah, you know, one of the reasons why I've got more into, you know, streaming myself and everything is because of Pirate Canvas. That guy, God bless his soul, like, despite all the stuff that, you know, was involved in his past, God bless him, he's a good guy. You know, he saved me from a lot of things.
It's awkward for me because the channels I started streaming on are not people I get along with right now.
Oh.
I will not badmouth people. I'll just say we don't work well together. But it's a learning and a living experience, and you move on from that. And I have met and made such amazing friends. I have had people who are truly there for me. And yeah, I've had some that have been less than chivalrous, but that's in any community and in any walk of life. You're always going to have that, especially to those of us who are a little harder to deal with, have more issues and stuff. That's going to be natural.
Oh, yeah.
I think some people think I was kidding when I said I hold no malice against anybody. I don't. I spent years having this rift and this war between me and my siblings, and I told everybody back when I was first starting streaming that for everything my sister did to me, and I was very open about some of the stuff she did to me, I very openly said that if she ever came back and tried to change, I'd welcome her back. And I'll just put it this way, me and my sister are speaking, which didn't happen for about 15 years. So,
oh, hey, that's good, you know. I mean, at least, you know, it seems like she's the one to change.
Welcome, Filter. It's kind of awkward because she really was good to me for my disabilities growing up, and kind of everything that I go through that she used to make fun of, she's going through herself now. So karma kind of bit her hard. So I didn't want her to grow up that way. I didn't want her to have to go through any of this stuff. I genuinely don't wish it on anybody, you know?
Yeah.
But why don't you tell people how they can find you and how they can spend more time with you here, since we need to wrap up so he can get his stuff going for his next stuff.
You can find me over on Vias Comessa 97 on the Twitter. It's actually to the game Blood.
If you have any other medias or anything else, you can feel free to mention it. Can you drop your Twitter link in the private? We can actually put it in chat for people to follow. It's probably easier.
Sure.
Thank you very, very much. That would be very much helpful. Mammoth is one. Whose chat group did I meet you in and really start talking to you in then again? Crap. Whose chat group was it I met you in? Who was it I met you through?
I can't even remember, man. Like, literally, the reason why I came on is because Pirate Canvas, and I was very outspoken with my beliefs on Twitter sometimes.
Now I have to think of it.
Yeah, I gotta think. Yeah. You can also find me on Instagram. I used to be called Tarman X in 1997, but I changed that recently.
Okay.
And yeah.
And as for me, everyone knows, find me YouTube, look for Ego Rider, find me at Rosem Queen 1 over on Twitter. I am actively involved in doing everything I can to help other people. And other than that, I will be setting up more sites. I have my Twitch and my Redbubble over on Twitter, and I will be putting up links as I build my websites down the road here. So keep up there. And other than that, I'm going to throw this over to Pops so he can throw down his videos and his information, and we can do what we can from there.
Bye, Tilt 2.
Buy anything you can from the community.
Anything you can from the community.
Podcast, it's Critical Blast.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this at all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work.
We've all heard the stories. We've all heard the legends. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid. But there's a secret history to the Old West. One that seems too strange to be true, but, well, we all know what they say about the truth. Very big ape, very big guns, blowing very big holes, very bad people. I think the world is finally ready to hear the story of the strangest, the most startling Western hero of them all. Six-gun gorilla, long days of vengeance.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals.